What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. Link will be in the description box below as usual. Go get it. PayPal link there also. They asked me to put it up, so I'll put it up. Thanks everybody for supporting. This video is entitled, Do Parents Owe Rebellious Children? You know, we talk about the parenting dynamic in America and also the entitlement issues, and we talk about single parent households and class and classism, racism, all these other things. But what happens when your child is rebellious? Your child does not listen to your direction. Your child doesn't follow your instruction. Your child just wants to do what your child wants to do. Because we talk about legacy also and leaving something to your kids. If you have a rebellious child, what do you really owe them? If you've given them the necessary tools to get ahead in life, if you've given them the amenities to get ahead in life, if you've given them the life lessons to get ahead in life, but they just want to be rebellious because they want to be rebels. So what happens when that rebel spirit comes back to bite them in the butt? What do you really owe them? And I gotta ask this because, if you set up a college fund for a child and then they get to school and they just blow the time there and they don't do what they're supposed to do, what do you owe them? If you buy them a car when they're 16 so they can get back and forth, and you introduce them to adulthood, and you got to pay their high insurance premiums, and they don't take care of the car, they wreck the car, or it ain't good enough for them, what do you really owe them? If you set them up for success, but they don't want to put in the work, they just want to do what they want to do, and then ultimately they wind up failing because they just squandered all of the opportunity and the resources that you put ahead of them because they just wanted to do their thing. Now, when they want to do something else, do you owe them? Because when I listen to adults talk about their childhood, there's a set of adults whose parents didn't have the money to do certain things for them, but they had actual life lessons and principles and experiences that they could give to them so they don't make as many mistakes as their parents did, and they utilized that and they made something of themselves. And then you have the ones who had money and resources and they got accustomed to a lifestyle and they got entitled and they just kept blowing opportunities. Now, those are the two ends of the spectrum of that spectrum. Now, there are things in between. There are definitely things in between. But on this video, I'm talking about rebelliousness. When you tell a kid, look, if you do these things, your life is gonna go in a negative direction, not a positive direction, and I'm gonna do it anyway. So if your kid winds up in jail and then they get out, do you really owe them a place to stay? Because at some point we got to talk about the choices people are making just out of rebelliousness. I just want to do what I want to do. No problem. If you want to do what you want to do, you're gonna have to pay the consequences of doing what you want to do. Nobody else. You don't get to say, but you're my parent, you're supposed to look out for me, you're supposed to have a backup plan when I do whatever I want to do. No. Some people have businesses that they had to inherit. And what did they do with the business? Do the parents owe you? Because normally Your parents want you. Your parents want their children to do better than them, but that's gonna take consistent work. And with that consistent work comes what? You know, commitment, effort, right? But if you rebel and you just want to get it the quick way or the fast way, well, if the quick way or the fast way works for a short period of time, you feel like you're winning. But then if it sabotages you for a long period of time, then what? And fast forwarding to this aspect of it. See, some people have children being rebellious, and we talk about, people using their child as a pawn as far as the relationship with their father normally, right? But we talk about it to a degree, but how these children are used as a pawn for these people's parents to, still help them because you got to help your grandkids. I'm still rebellious, but this is my golden ticket to still be a screw up, because are you really going to let me be in charge of my own kids, knowing how I get down? What is going to happen to my kids if you just let me be in charge of my kids? You owe this to my kids so I can get it. But and some of these parents wind up finding out the hard way that their parents like, them ain't my kids. That's your responsibility. And my grandparents, they're no longer here except for one. The other three are gone. All three of my grandparents are the type of people that go, them your kids. But because that's my grandchild, I'm going to be watching you. And if you mess up, you going to come up missing. Oh, I'll take the kid after you come up missing. Because I did my job raising you. If you think you're going to skip out on the responsibility and put that on me, you got another thing coming. If you think you're not going to handle your responsibility, I don't owe you to raise your kids. That's just, the family I come from. And I was raised by my grandparents. It sounds crazy, but my grandparents basically, was like, oh, this how y'all gonna get down? Don't ask for parent respect around here. It was always in the wings. Let's just put it like that. Knowing that my parents wasn't really prepared to be parents. But they was like, it's gonna have to, the whole house is gonna have to set on fire before I get there. And there were some things that happened in my parents' household. I didn't leave. Because my grandparents like, no. Hey, what? Hey, whatever. Shootout, stabbing, whatever. Drugs, partying, whatever. That boy come up. If anything happened to that boy, I'm going to kill y'all. Because ironically, my parents were teenage parents. I was born in 79. Shotgun wedding. Still was in effect. Still was in effect. So was my parents married when I was born? Yeah, because granddad was sitting there with both my other grandparents. Oh, you gonna say I do? Oh, yeah, you will. Mm-hmm. I do. Reverend, they do. We ain't even got to get to that part. They do. You may kiss the bride. But if you're a rebellious child, there comes a point where you have to accept the responsibility that if your parents taught you better and you went astray, that's on you. I think of the biblical story of the prodigal son. They didn't go out there looking for him. Bye. I love you. Love you, baby, but go ahead. If you want to do that, go ahead. So, if you're one of those people who think you can be a rebel and your parents still owe you, If your parents was good parents, you out your mind. If your parents was bad parents, you already know they was bad parents. So I don't know what make you think they gonna pay you back. I'm just saying. But if you rebellious, the rebelliousness is on you. If they loving you, clothing you, feeding you, preparing you for life, and you still rebellious, the onus is on you at that point. Just in my opinion. So I'm done. Like, share, subscribe. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.